Let's make a wildlife sound recording. Now, wildlife sound recording is something that you can do at any time of the year. All through the year there are birds and mammals and insects, all sorts of things making noises. What can you do when you've got your sound recording? Well, you can put them onto a CD, although this is a little bit old-fashioned stuff these days, or more likely you can put them onto a memory stick and then upload that to a site on the internet. Now, the thing about sound recording is, like photography, you can spend an absolute fortune on equipment. So you can buy things like very expensive parabolic reflectors and very expensive microphones. But the point is it possible, first of all, to do it at Pishiobury? And secondly, is it possible to do it on a reasonable budget? Let's find out. So, let's say that you decide that you want to try and do some wildlife sound recording. Now, something that you might get, this is a little video, supposed to go onto a video camera, but the problem is that it won't actually record, and I've never found the quality to be particularly good anyway, so let's put that to one side. Something else you could try are these little dictaphone recorders. They actually give surprisingly good quality, and but they aren't really intended for use in outdoors, and therefore they have their limitations. Here's another one here, and they do record in stereo and they record in MP3 files and so on, but they have their limitations. Now, you might decide to purchase something that can be obtained at no great cost. So let's just see what there is in the box here. Right, so here is the actual little recorder here, you can see, and it's just powered by the power source is one AA battery, and the actual little recorder is quite interesting, so let's have a closer look at it. So here we are with our little H1 recorder, and we'll just do a quick guided tour of the controls and features. First of all, at the top there's a pair of stereo microphones that record at 90-degree angle. Now, on the side here we've got, first of all, a USB connection if you want to download into your computer. Here's the on-off control, delete button, fast forward or rewind if you want to do your playback. And then, very, very important, you can record the input level when you're recording. Never use auto when you're doing wildlife sound recording, always use the manual control. And at the top here is a line in, which means that you can plug something like a bat detector into it and record the sounds of bats. On the other side, we've got here we've got the volume control. That will the volume control for when you do playback. And then what we've got here is the headphone socket. Once again, very, very important when you're wildlife sound recording to monitor the sounds of wildlife. On the front here, you've got this little button. Just simply goes when you press that, it makes it record, or press it again, it's going to pause. And a little LCD screen here, which gives you information about what's going on. On the other side, we've got here is the little port for the micro SD socket. Takes up to 32 gigabit card, plenty of storage space, volume controls to playback, and once again, very, very importantly, a headphone socket so that you can monitor the sounds that you're listening to. On the back, once again, more useful things. First of all, here is a low cut filter button so that you can it'll help you to exclude a lot of traffic noise. Secondly, there's the button that goes for on and off on the auto level. I would always have that in the off position. And at the bottom here, you've got the record format. You can record as a WAV file or MP3. If you're wanting to do anything with your computer, I would certainly go for the WAV file. So there we are. Oh, and also on the back there's a screw mounting, so you can put it onto a tripod for stability. So and there also is the battery compartment for your single AA battery. So there we are. It's a really useful little piece of kit, we think. So let's see what we can do with it at Pishiobury. So this is the little H1 recorder. As I've already said, it's got lots of interesting features. It's very, very reasonably priced, and I think it's quite versatile. But it does have some drawbacks in its use, and I'll demonstrate those to you now by plugging this into the camera that's taking the film, so you'll be able to hear some of the problems. So I switched the H1 on, and as you can see, I've connected it up to the camera. Now, I don't know if you can already hear, but as soon as I move this about, or as soon as I touch the cable, then you'll hear there's lots of handling noise. If I keep it perfectly still, it's alright, but if I move it, then there's all sorts of handling noise. Now, it's possible we might be able to use this to our advantage later on, but at the moment it's a real disadvantage. Now, something else, this is supposed to be a windshield, so if I just demonstrate without the windshield what it's like if you have a slight breeze on this. That's a slight breeze. And if I put the so-called windshield on and blow on it now, you can hear, I hope, that no matter where you put it, that windshield is not much good at all. So obviously, if we're going to use this outside, we need to have some big improvement to get a decent recording. So what have I done? Right, well, you might think that this looks like a food container. One of these ones, a lock and lock food container. And that is indeed what it is. And I've taken the lid off and added a wooden handle to it, as you can see. But more importantly, inside what I've done is to have some rubber bands. And not rubber bands, elastic bands like this. And what we can do now with our recorder is to put the, well, first of all, yeah, that can go inside there. Now that is fully suspended, so it's actually independent of the container. So even if we touch the container, the elastic will absorb any scraping. Similarly, on the front, we've covered the whole thing in green muslin that I've dyed. I'll put some green muslin on the front. So what we've got is like a special windshield that's absorbing vibration as well. I've cut this little piece off the top here so I can look through and actually make sure that it's recording. Now there's one thing that we need to do to finish this off. So the finished setup will be to connect our earphones into the recorder. In that way we can monitor what we're listening to. This will then go in between the elastic bands like this. That will tuck there, and if necessary we can put the container, put the lid on like that. And there we are, we're ready to go. Now the only thing to do now and to operate this, of course, you put it on and you can reach forward in here and operate the stop start quite easily. And the thing to do now is to take it outside and see if we can record some sounds. Now it always pays to have a bit of a recce before you go sound recording. Here is a really good thicket that must contain birdsong in nursery wood. And here is a woodpecker hole. If we put a microphone nearby, we're almost certain to get some good results. And earlier on I saw a song thrush singing from this tree, so this is a song post. So here we are, ready to try recording in nursery wood. I've connected the microphone into the camera so you can hear the bird song. Always wear camouflage if you've got it and stand against a tree to help keep you hidden. Right, so we've been and got our sound recording, and I've taken the SD card out of the camera and loaded it into the computer, and we're going to use a free program to process our recordings called Audacity. It's a free download and you can do a lot of things with it. So we'll go to Audacity first of all, and here is the blank Audacity screen, and we'll open up that particular I'll find the where we are, stereo, and we're looking at track 7, and you can see there's quite a lot of background noise in places, and what we're looking for are areas like this where there's obviously a bird calling. So let's see what that sounds like. There's obviously a bird calling there, but it's quite faint and there's a lot of background sound. So the first thing we'll try and do is to amplify that a little bit. So we highlight that area and we go to Effect, Amplify, and we will let's amplify it to that extent. Right, now let's see what it sounds like now. Well, we've amplified it alright, but equally we've amplified a lot of the background sound as well, so we need to get rid of that. So what we do now is to highlight that again, and this time we'll go to the equalization, and what this does is that cuts off the low frequencies and amplifies the higher frequency. You can adjust this to wherever you want it to be, like that, different positions, and we'll have it about there, and let's see what it looks like now. Right, now you can see it's changed the shape a bit. So let's see what this sounds like now. And again. It sounds a little bit thin, and maybe you could fiddle about with the equalization, but personally I don't think that's too bad. And that bird is the chiffchaff. So, with your recording equipment and Audacity, you ought to be able to get some really good results on the park. Go and see if you can give it a try for yourselves. And here are 2 more sounds that I have recorded in the park. That one is the chaffinch. And just one more. That one is the great tit. So we've been and made our sound recording. We've copied it onto Audacity, and now we've got to try and identify it. Now this is a very useful thing that I've found here. It's actually a book all about birdsong. It's got all the different sorts of birds and things in it, but more importantly, down this side here is the thing where sort of controls where you can actually play the bird song and help you to identify it. Now the one that we've processed we think might be a chiff-chaff because that's what it sounds like. And so if we look up chiff-chaff, here we are on page 143 is a chiff-chaff, and it gives you a nice picture of the bird, and it also gives you lots of information about it. And also if we start this up here, it is recording, it tells you recording 143, and if we play that recording, now let's see how that compares with the recording we've made. And again. Now I think you have to agree that our recording is equally as good as this one in the identifying book. So what a success that is. Now see if you can go and make some other recordings, and if you can get hold of something like this it will help you to identify the bird song. Otherwise there are plenty of sources available on the internet. Good luck with your recording.